Hello everyone. In this video I will be talking about and showing you a pair of classic Airfix model kits. As you are probably aware, Airfix is in the process of reissuing their classic kits under the Vintage Classics label. However, what is still not available from Airfix under its Vintage Classics line in 2025 is the former range of hard plastic 54mm or 1/32 scale historical figures, once available from Airfix from the 1970s until the 2000s. The topics covered under the Airfix 54mm figure range included conflicts from the 17th to the early 20th centuries, with figures depicting soldiers and cavalry from the English Civil Wars, the American Revolutionary War, along with the Napoleonic Wars, which there were multiple figures depicting Napoleonic infantry and cavalry. And finally, the odd figure depicting early 20th century colonial campaigns. But sadly, you can no longer get these figures from your local hobby stores or any major online retailer. However, you can still find occasionally these figures on the second-hand market, mainly from auction sites such as eBay, or for me, here in New Zealand, Trade Me, a popular homegrown NZ-based auction site. As you can gather from the video's title, I have been able to get my hands on two of these figures. The first one is the 54mm British 2nd Dragoons, aka the Scots Greys, and just recently the British Prince of Wales' own 10th Hussars, with both of those cavalry regiments seeing action during the 1815 Battle of Waterloo. And with this year marking the 210th anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo, it seems very appropriate to make one of these figures, but I cannot make up my mind on what one to make first, which is why I need your help, dear viewers. Which one of these figures should I make first, along with making a build video on it too? So, let's take a closer look at the following choices. The charge of the Scots Greys during the Battle of Waterloo is by far one of the most legendary cavalry charges made by the British Army, second only to the charge of the Light Brigade during the Crimean War. The charge of the Royal Scots Greys at Waterloo was immortalised in the 1881 painting Scotland Forever by Lady Elizabeth Butler, and later depicted on the big screen in the 1970 film Waterloo. So, you can easily see why I had to get my hands on this classic Airfix kit. As you can see, the kit is an early 1990s release of this model, which comes with an included display stand, a common feature of the 54mm figures range, and containing one sprue for the figure with options for the Scots Grey to hold a sabre or a pistol, with lots of nice details for a kit of this age. And on the second sprue, which contains the horse, of course, moulded in two halves with the pose of the horse at full gallop. Now, I will need to make both the horse's reins and belts for the trooper, which I will be making from aluminum foil tape, instead of using the included thin sheet of styrene. And I will be planning on adding a bit of muddy grass onto the display base for this model. So, that is choice number one. Now, let's take a look at the second choice. The other 54mm figure from Airfix I have depicts the 10th Prince of Wales' own Royal Hussars. Another very interesting subject, since the Prince of Wales' own Hussars was the first Hussar cavalry regiment to serve in the British Army. The regiment saw service throughout the Napoleonic Wars, with the 10th Hussars seeing combat in Spain and Portugal during the Peninsular War from 1808 until the end of the campaign in 1814. The regiment also fought during the Waterloo campaign in 1815. Notably, the 10th would be involved in one of the last British cavalry charges during the famed battle. As for the Airfix kit in question, you can see this is a very old boxing, since this figure was only produced during the 1970s, with the last release of this kit being available in the year 1979. And yes, there are two kits in the box. It looks like at some point the original owner of these kits got two of the same kit and put them in the same box for storage. However, I added all the parts except from the horses into separate resealable plastic bags, since a few of the pieces have come loose from the sprues, but luckily all the parts are still there, which will make it easier to build both figures. And speaking of which, I will be slightly altering one of the figures by changing the shape of one of the Hussars jackets, and use the two included right arms. That way I can have a different pose for each figure. And to add more visual interest and some realism, I will be swapping the horse from the Scots Greys set to have both horses charging in different poses, which will look much more interesting on the planned diorama. Well, that is the two choices. So, what do you want to see me make first, YouTube? The Scots Grey or the Prince of Wales' own? You can post your votes in the comments section below, or you can cast your votes on the Shuttle Factory YouTube community page poll. Voting will close when my planned build video for the Hasegawa 1/72 Scale Sea Harrier FSR.1 is posted to YouTube. And once a winner is decided, the build will commence on either figure. So stay tuned for both the completed model and video in the very near future. Until next time, good luck with all your ongoing scale modelling projects, and thank you so much for both voting and watching. Goodbye.